Hello and welcome back to the Actors plugin tutorial part 2. In this video we'll be taking a look at behaviors. More specifically we'll be talking about this little GUI here and how it all works, what responses are, what type of behaviors exist, and then we'll get into each type of behavior in separate videos. So basically one way to think of it is a behavior is how an actor behaves and reacts to events. So by default when you create an actor they will have what's called a default type behavior, which is pretty much behavior where the NPC does nothing. They will not move, they will not look around, or they'll just stand where they are, you know? So that's what a default behavior is. With a default behavior, you can still do stuff like responses, but I'll get into that in a second. There are a few other types of behaviors. There's a path type behavior where you set each point in the world and the actor will basically move between those points. There's an AI behavior, which is essentially it allows the entity that's, I guess, controlling the actor to just do whatever and wander around. So generally players use the AI of a wolf by default, so they'll just sort of walk around and just wander. And the last type of behavior is a scene behavior. So a scene behavior is a very special type of behavior that allows you to record your actions as a player and have the actor play them back. That'll be probably a multi-part video, or at least a very long video on that one. And an actor can change between behaviors. So if we created, let's say, another default, let's say like interacting. That's the name of the behavior, right? Basically, you in this GUI, you can select a different behavior just to like edit it. It won't actually set the behavior, but that's what these options are. So you can set it as the active behavior, or you can set it as the default behavior. The default behavior is when the plugin loads, it's the behavior that the NPC will default to every time. And an active behavior is just what it is currently. So a behavior can switch to a different behavior if that's what you want it to do. And yeah, you can also delete a behavior if it's not the default one. It'll tell you cannot delete the default behavior if it's the default one. Additionally, there'll be this button here will be available if the behavior can be edited, like it has a special editor, like for the path and scene behavior. But since the default one's pretty basic, you can't really do that. But for now, let's just have a look at the response editor. The response editor allows you to add responses to events. So events are listed in this bottom right corner here. By default, it'll show that you've selected an event called onInteract. So basically when a player interacts with the NPC, with the actor, like they right click it, then it will execute one of these responses. There's other events such as on take damage, or when the entity actually attacks and that can target anything, or when it's healed by a player, it can only target a player, or as time goes on I'll be adding more events for an NPC to respond to, but for now these are the basic ones. So taking a look here, we only have 3 types of responses, and again I will be adding more. It just sort of depends what we need and what we want to happen. So the most basic one and probably the most used one will be add dialogues. Adding dialogue, clicking here will show you any dialogue that's already there, but you can add a line there, and once again you can change to a different event depending on what you want to do. Let's say we want our little dummy here, Alex, to say hello there when you interact with them. So it's as simple as click add line, and then it'll get you to enter in chat. So hello there, and then it will say it's added successfully, and now it's here. Now if we go here and we turn off the actor editor because it won't work otherwise, we click that, and now they say hello there. Now how it works if you add multiple lines in that. So let's say you want to edit this response. Now I know it's a little bit confusing, but if you actually edit the dialogue thing, you might want to go edit response, and then you'll see it's back to this little GUI here where you can actually add a line. So let me get another one. Let's say, have you heard of the Dark Elves? So now that's another line that will sort of randomly show up as well. You can even add a command, which is a separate type of response. So add command, let's say, so this is the command that we will be adding here, which is, Minecraft explosion, actor X, actor Y, actor Z, which spawns at the location of the actor. And if you want to get rid of that command, you simply select it and then click remove command. But in any case, this is just how we pretty much show the different responses. So there'll just be a list here, the white ones meaning they exist, and then you've got dialogue, command, I'll say selected or unselected sort of thing. So what this means is we have a dialogue response and we have a command response. A dialogue response, literally, it will just choose one of these two lines or one of however many lines are here and say it when you right click the entity, and then it will also execute the command specified here. Generally speaking, the result of this is when we exit the editor, we have it say hello there, or have you heard of the Dark Elves, or hello there, and it also plays that little particle effect or explosion. So there's really a lot of different ways you can use this. We'll be adding more things that you can do. Obviously commands add a lot for you to be able to do there. So the last type of response that we have available is the behavior response. So this response will allow you to change from the current behavior to another behavior. So clicking it will show you the few different types of responses that you can choose from. Yeah, it will show, let's say we want to go to the interacting behavior. So we save behavior key, and now that is another response for this first behavior. Now keep in mind that this is only for interacting, so when you go to click this, it will show that the actual behavior there just isn't showing up basically. Now if we were to test this out, what we should expect to happen is when we right click the entity once, it will do an explosion, it will say hello there, and when we click it again, it won't do anything, and that's because it's changed to that new default behavior that does not have any interactions on it. So yeah, that is the basics of behavior. For the most part, if you're making just a basic NPC that is, walking around, or if it's just standing still, you really just have to go, response, default, editor, add dialogue, and then you can just add dialogue. Like it can be as simple as that, but if you want to do things such as commands, that's where it can become more complicated. It's really up to you. But yeah, just that is the basics of creating basic NPCs. And how the sort of responses work. In the future, I will be adding things such as conditions, meaning you can add conditions for each of these responses such that they can't just execute. That has to be a condition like a signal or something or a certain state, which will definitely add more sort of capabilities for it, I'm sure. But yeah, for now, that is all for this little part of it. And next up, we'll be taking a look at the path behavior. Thank you.